So Orlando Salido defeats Vasyl Lomachenko over 12 rounds with a split decision. He basically out-hustled Lomachenko out of the fight. Used pressure. I mean, it was the typical Orlando Salido. And Salido does have a good record against southpaws if you followed his career. He obviously beat Vasyl Lopez. He beat Orlando Cruz. He beat Robert Guerrero. And I think there's a couple other southpaws he's beat as well. So he's got a good record against southpaws. Lomachenko was slick, fast, moved around the ring. Didn't make it easy for Salido to land clean shots on him. I mean, Salido was landing not that many clean shots compared to how he normally, his normal connect percentage in fights. So Lomachenko, for those of you who don't know, was an outstanding amateur. Had, I don't know, like 2 million amateur fights. I'm exaggerating, obviously. I think he had like 300 or 400 amateur fights. Only lost one, apparently. So, an incredible amateur. But amateurs and pros are different. And even though he didn't manage to beat Salido, this was only his second professional fight. I mean, incredible what he was trying to do. Trying to win a world title in his second pro fight. He didn't manage to do it. But I'm no less impressed after that fight, because he was hanging in there with Salido. It was a fairly close fight, I thought, and the fact he managed to hang in there with a world level guy in his second pro fight, and obviously Salido his title wasn't on the line because he didn't make weight, and he came in on the night with a significant weight advantage. So the fact that Lomachenko was giving up all those advantages, it was only his second pro fight, I was very impressed. I was very impressed with Lomachenko. Again, people are going to say, well, he had 400 amateur fights. He should be able to step right up to the highest level in the pro game right away. Well, it don't work like that. There are loads of amateurs who have had tons of fights and they don't make it as professionals. So it's not that clear cut. Just because you're a good amateur with loads of success, it doesn't mean you're going to make it in the pros. I mean, look at what's his name now? The heavyweight Cuban. His name escapes me at the moment. Odlene Solis. Okay, he ain't had hardly any success now as a professional. I know he's been unbeaten, but he's been unbeaten against real poor quality opposition, and then he lost to Vitaly Klitschko in the first round. So, and I can give you numerous examples. There was another Cuban heavyweight called Jorge Luis Gonzalez who beat Lennox Lewis and Riddick Bowe in the amateurs. He was a tremendous amateur, but once he turned pro, he got knocked out a bunch of times. So, amateur success is no guarantee that you're going to have professional success. So, I give Lomachenko a whole heap of credit for being able to hang in there in his second pro fight with a guy like Orlando Salido. And yes, he didn't win the fight, but he did well enough to convince me this guy does have a pretty good future in the sport of boxing. I wasn't massively impressed by his physical attributes, his punching power and stuff like that, but it's early days. He's got to make the transition to the professional ranks. They tried to pull a stunt. They tried to put him right in there at the top level by matching him with Salido for a world title. Didn't pay off, but the guy's definitely got talent to be able to do that and hang in there with a guy like Salido in his second fight. So, 10, 20 fights in, he could be a serious threat in the featherweight division. So there you have it, people. Salido wins the fight, but he loses his title on the scales because he didn't make weight. So the WBO title at featherweight is now vacant. So drop your comments below. Who do you think won the fight? Do you think it was a fair decision to give it to Salido? I have to also mention Salido's constant low blows throughout the fight. I mean, Salido's known for dirty tactics. We know that. He's never been a clean fighter. He's tested positive for steroids before. He does a lot of dirty things in his fights. He was literally throwing combinations below Lomachenko's belt line. Combinations, people, not just one low blow here and there. He was throwing combinations below Lomachenko's belt. Incredible. Incredible that he wasn't getting warned and stuff like that for it, or disqualified. It is what it is. Drop your comments below. Let me know how you felt about this fight. This is Hatman. I'm out.